Hey, welcome to the Tim and Gugabe podcast. This is your host, Tim. Gugabe had a birthday celebration yesterday and missed the podcast. Now he shows up with no video because I'm assuming you got too shit faced last night or what's going on?
I've been moved to a significantly worse prison. So yeah, they took away my treadmill. So I'm just in no state. There's tears and blood everywhere. It's awful.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's go. Let's recap the last event and then we can kind of talk about UFC Singapore. They're in Singapore, right? This coming week. I think it was.
I think it's in America, but it was supposed to be in Korea or something, wasn't it? Oh no, Singapore. Sorry, it is Singapore.
I think that happened to America. Yep. But all right. Anyway, O'Malley, try to mute yourself whenever. Yeah. O'Malley and Aljo. I thought Sterling was going to win. I think O'Malley just kind of hit his win condition. I feel like, I feel like I think eventually Sterling probably would have gotten them down if they went 5 rounds. But O'Malley, I wrote I put in my breakdowns on the site that I go. I thought Sterling was definitely going to win, but I was like, I do think O'Malley can maybe stop takedowns early, and he gets a little too much shit for his wrestling defense, but I don't think he would have kept it up for 25 minutes. I think he even said the same thing, O'Malley, but he kind of just hit his win condition. Do you kind of have similar thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much. Because even standing wise, it wasn't like it was super binary. Obviously Malley had his best spot on the feet, but Sterling won essentially standing round in the first round. So it wasn't like Malley was absolutely shitting on him in the feet. So good on Malley finding the KO, but I don't think it was a super indicative result. And yeah, it was competitive striking, and Sterling consolidated the top position probably would have been the fight or massively changed it. But yeah, honestly, yeah, if you gave me a time machine back a couple of days and you rewound the fight completely, the only thing I'm betting probably the over, just because they were so tepid. But again, that could easily have gone to shit the second that Sterling ever got a takedown. So yeah.
Yeah, I have similar thoughts too. It's kind of like round one, Aljo. I think round one was fine for him to be a little tentative and kind of go for a takedown or two, push him against the cage, but not go crazy. And then I feel like, because he won round one on all the cards. And honestly, if he just because he's really good O'Malley can't land on Sterling unless if he counters, So if Sterling would have just thrown leg kicks from the outside, I feel like he could have done that. And he kind of did that in round one. But him kind of rushed. I feel like he got a little too over aggressive in round two and just paid for it, But credit to O'Malley, he hit his win condition, took advantage of a counter, and knocked him dead. I thought the stoppage was fair. I saw some people talking about it seemed very reasonable to me.
Malley's follow-up wasn't the best, but Sterling was clearly gone. So again, it's just knockdown variant. Sometimes somebody gets hit and they're just dead, whilst other times they're sort of scrambling still. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with this. It's kind of like O'Malley couldn't really create his own strikes to land on Aljo. It was more like Aljo kind of gave it to him. And so, I do think Aljo could have been I feel like the way he came in was a little too aggressive. What's up, Justin? Co-main event, Zhang over Lemos. Everyone always thinks I talk shit on Zhang. She's very physical. I thought this was a good performance. I do think Lemos, her defensive grappling looked way worse than I thought it could have been, She hadn't been tested with a girl like Zhang, but honestly, I didn't even know Zhang could wrestle for 25 minutes offensively, and she did. So it was a fine performance by Zhang. I think it was more like Lemos being awful as a grappler. She still resisted well at times to not get finished, but overall, I thought she kind of just didn't look very good. But Zhang's very physical. I'm really looking forward to her and Suarez, which will eventually happen.
No, Waterson got on top of when Waterson got on top of Lemos didn't seem to have any get-ups whatsoever, and the Barella fight, but I don't know, Barella. Yeah, it's a weird kind of fight to me because I do kind of think Lemos probably had more than that for her because like even like when they were striking, Zhang was not super dominant. You could see even against the tired Lemos. Like so Zhang was outworking her, but Zhang was just absorbing massive flash punches because Zhang has no defense. And I think the fight could honestly have gone a bit differently. Like if Lemos hadn't been kicked off her feet for a leg kick 30 seconds into the fight, then spent the next 4.5 minutes essentially getting absolutely roasted from top position. Like, it wasn't like Zhang's first takedown, which let her take a lot of the steam and energy off Lemos, was actually a takedown. It was just kind of like a weird leg kick stumble thing. Sometimes I think in these fights, like, you get that sort of big sort of free takedown early, and like get you through takedown defense, and sort of took Lemos's window away from her to a large degree. Again, it's hard to sort of confirm this, but I have a sort of sneaking suspicion that possibly it would have been a lot harder if the first takedown hadn't happened so weirdly.
Yeah, it could have drained Lemos a little bit. Still, like, I mean, Zhang, over the course of 25 minutes, is surely going to land takedowns on Lemos, unless if she gets finished. But I do agree, like, Lemos was probably less dangerous early and couldn't put up as much of a fight because, like, she slipped and Zhang kind of baked her a little bit on the mat, tired her out probably. But, I mean, Zhang was super dominant. Gary looked good against Magny. The Vera Munoz... I thought I was going crazy. I thought Munoz like clearly won round 2, and round 1 it was like 60-40 Munoz. And then I looked like I thought, I mean, he got dominated round 3 though. So it's like a Vera scorecard is completely reasonable, but 30-27 Vera was just bizarre on 2 cards. And I looked on MMA decisions, and like 90% of people picked Munoz to win the fight. How did you score it? And let me know what you think of the comments.
I had 20. I was fine at 29-28 Vera. Like I get the arguments. Really, the fight should come down to round 1. I can see how you can score round 1 either way, but yeah.
Round 2 Vera was strange. I didn't even think there was like a huge argument for him at all. Like round 1 Vera, I think is totally reasonable, but I do think Munoz round 1 is reasonable too.
Yeah, because like even live lines, like after round 1, the live lines all stayed the same. After round 2, Munoz was into like minus 150, and then Vera, Vera closes minus 200ish, and it's like I kind of put a lot of sway into the live lines when judging stuff, just because I feel like it's the only platform where people actually sort of have real skin in the game.
Yeah, and they have to
like
get
people
it right.
aren't betting Munoz because they felt like it.
See, with Christian here, like I the volume versus damage, I didn't think Vera really landed much damage in round 1. Like everyone was like, Vera landed the bigger shot. Like I felt like he didn't even land much in round 1, or like it wasn't like Munoz was his face was fucked up after round 1 or 2. It was round 3, Vera dominated. Like round 1, I can't even recall that many big strikes landing. What were the numbers? It just seemed like Munoz was busier, and I felt like Vera didn't even like land much damage. Like I felt like neither guy did, and so I thought Munoz was just a little more active in round 1. But I don't know. Like it was 38-38 in at distance. I mean, I guess you can't get it either way. So yeah, whatever. I do think overall, like if you like, Vera was probably like definitely the rightful favorite because he just had more damage upside, and he had like, when he actually let his hands go in round 3, he kind of like dominated, but that version of the fight, I thought Munoz might have won rounds 1 and 2. But yeah, I lost some money on Morose. I cannot believe she got guillotined with that. Like Silva was setting up that guillotine like 15 seconds before, and she just like never fought hands or anything. Got subbed.
Yeah. And it was 2 seconds. And it was like 2 seconds left in the round. So it's like you heard the clapper, and like she legit had 30 seconds to think about the guillotine. She didn't defend it. She didn't go to her back. She didn't she had options. And the thing it's not like she just had to survive 2 seconds. Even if she just sat in it for another 2 seconds, she would have been fine.
Yeah, like when I saw a lot of people being like, "Oh, Silva's so nasty on the ground." I'm like, no, like when you watch Mackenzie Dern, you're like, she's nasty on the ground. When I was watching Silva, like that guillotine, I'm shocked she set it up and it was able to get it. Like it was telegraphed and it just, I don't know. I was expecting more of Morose. I mean, she stifled Bueno Silva, who is pretty tricky with some of her setups. So I was shocked Silva got it, but she did. Fair enough.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I mean, Silva was probably more minute dominant than I expected on the feet. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't like it was her only area of success kind of thing. So I
no,
got it wrong anyway. But
for sure.
Yeah.
I more so thought she would always have a good round one. I still think she's going to fade after that. Like, I felt like the fact she was jumping guillotines to her back like that on a not very good attempt, even though it landed, I thought was like, that could have very much like, the fight could have shifted, but who knows? Like, we need to see Silva in an extended fight to know how good she is, you know?
Very much.
All right, let's just talk about, let's go to UFC Singapore now. I'm pulling up the card. Holloway, rightful big favorite in your opinion?
I mean, yes, but also I think, I'm a little concerned. Yeah, it's been around for quite a while. He's very chin reliant. Zombie does bonk, so otherwise they're 31. Fuck. What is older than that? Just my issue with Holloway is I just feel like there's gonna be one day he rocks up and he just doesn't have the chin anymore, or the chin just goes from being A to like a good chin, and that gives him issues. But like Zombie looks kind of decrepit. Zombie, yeah, I think we've both kind of always been quite low on Zombie. I think Zombie's been quite lucky to have the success he's had. Just in terms of Zombie hasn't fought much. Where he does fight, he tends to get instant knockouts kind of a thing. I feel like if he actually fought more often or just didn't get the instant knockouts, the career could be quite different. I feel like he would have washed out of the top 15 already. But yeah, fight seems fine. Maybe look Holloway live. Like, possibly Zombie has as good round one, and then you can just kind of get in on Holloway a decent thing. But I don't really care about the fight, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, Holloway's a rifle favorite and whatnot. -8 to 900 in a striking fight, 5 rounds. I'm not gonna jump on that. But I mean, he should win. He has like a metric advantage. I've never been that high on Zombie. It's like Zombie generally has to win by knockout to like win fights, and I don't even think Holloway's ever been knocked down. I do agree. At some point, someone is gonna catch Holloway. Just like it's more likely now than ever after he's like worn all this damage for so long. But I still don't think he's gonna knock Holloway out. Like if they fought 100 times, maybe he gets 5 to 10. But other than that, I think Holloway should get it done. What do you think of like the goes the distance and whatnot? Inside the distance is -165. The goes the distance is actually the underdog here.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Holloway's going to put a lot of volume on him. And like the Korean Zombie fight, again, I mean, no, the Korean Zombie versus Volkanovski, he looked bad, but maybe that was a Volkanovski thing. Yeah, that's the question. It's like, we're looking at Korean Zombie versus Volkanovski. Was that because it was Volkanovski teeing off on him, or is Korean Zombie kind of fucked? I think there's a bit of A and a bit of B there. And really, that in my opinion, if you're betting goes distance, that's really what you're betting on.
Yeah.
Because there should be a 25-minute striking war, and Holloway should pull away and put a lot of volume on him. So, and like, Zombie kind of has a few very bad defensive lapses. Like, he can't deal with like kicks. He doesn't deal well with body shots. Like, he's essentially a head strike only fighter, just the way he fights. So, there's a good chance. Yeah, I think Holloway, once he gets comfortable, will just fuck him. But but Zombie is tough. So I think the line's about right. And also, like, if Holloway's -800, I feel like the RTD kind of has to be favoured by that much, just because, like, it's a volume striker and they're that big a favourite.
Yeah. Smith and Spann, I'm kind of surprised. Like, it's kind of weird. I picked Smith to win the first fight because Spann doesn't win fights unless if he wins in, like, a round. And he's, like, a power guillotine and spaz knockout guy. And it's like, no one really submits Anthony Smith anymore. And Smith is very tough. And he's just more durable, so I picked Smith to win. And I'm picking him to win for the same reasons here. It's weird that Smith closed -150 in the fight, won the fight, and now Spann's favored. What do you think about that? Like, I mean, Span, like, Smith is bad enough where Span could win the fight, but I do feel like Span being brought out and being the current favorite is a little weird, you know?
Yeah, durability alone. Just you kind of like
Yeah.
Span is hilariously fragile. Smith is stupid durable. It just gives Smith like this fight. Like I feel like Smith is slightly less like to hurt him per iteration, but Smith gets to be wrong 3 times, while Span only gets to be wrong 1 time, just historically.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. Yeah, I pretty much agree. Like, yeah, Smith the dog seems off. Obviously Span's a bit younger, and I can see how Span could come in. Like, Span has such insane physical tools that if he ever decides to pull his head out of his ass, he could actually be very, very good.
He's such a spaz, though. Like, he's not good at anything. Like, he's not a good striker or grappler. It's just he's, like, very dangerous. Like, if fights get extended, he can't volume strike for 15 minutes. Like, he almost lost to Sam Alvey, you know, in a 15-minute striking fight. And then his grappling isn't, like, his wrestling's not good. I suppose he could land takedowns on Smith, like almost anyone can, but Smith is a better submission grappler, don't you think? Like, clearly.
Yeah, I agree. But again, the Walker fight was a little bit ugly for Smith. But then, yeah, Walker had actually put together a pretty solid game plan, all things considered.
Yeah.
Like, he worked the legs.
Smith has had a few tough stylistic matchups in a row. Like, Walker, he just kind of got outpointed from the outside. Ankalaev is like a terrible matchup. And then then he beat Span, Crute, and Devin Clark. Like, I don't know. I don't think I've been very low on both of these guys. Like, I was reading my write-ups on all these guys, and I'm like not nice to them whenever I'm writing them up. But I do feel like you got to go with durability here, and that's clearly Smith. Span round one is plus 160, which, like, when's the last time Anthony Smith got finished in the first round? You know.
I mean, yeah, I get the argument, but yeah, also the concern if Smith does show up and has a bit of a chin issue, like suddenly that could just look good. Yeah,
Well,
like Smith's run's weird because like the Crute fight was the leg, and that was kind of weird. It was like 3 leg kicks, and then Crute's leg started going. He fucking triangle choked Clark from guard, which was strange. It's like Smith is a weird fighter. Like, again, I definitely think he's the side as a dog here, but I find it hard to commit.
I'm not saying Span can't win this fight. He's dangerous, and Smith is just not very good. So, of course, Span could win. But I do feel like Smith dog is just a little bizarre. It is like high enough variance where I don't know if I'm going to bet, but like people playing Smith, I totally understand the take, you know, especially at dog odds. What's the next one? Sorry, I'm pulling it up. Chikadze and Caceres. Like, it's most likely going to play out on the feet, and Giga in a 3-round fight's like a lot better than in a 5-round fight because his cardio doesn't come into play. And Caceres doesn't like push a huge pace and will play a distance game a little bit. So I get why Giga's a fave, but striking is high enough variance, and Caceres has always been underrated. Like, in my opinion, like, I picked him to win as a dog before, and he's come through. And if he just got like a back take, he could get a sub too, because Giga isn't very good on the mat. I don't know if Caceres has the wrestling to get him there, but like as a decent size underdog at this point, that is like still a path to victory. And on the feet, I think it'll be like a little bit competitive. Giga is probably more likely to hurt him, especially early, and I would probably favor Giga just on the feet overall. But I'm not interested at Giga minus 250 at all. You know, he's just like, Caceres is very, very tough and has a couple paths to victory here. But I did pick Giga to win by decision, but what did you think?
Yeah, Giga has so many holes. It's just like, how the fuck do you ever get him to minus 200? Like, he's fine. He is an okay kickboxer if you fight exactly five strikes per minute and you don't grapple whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he's been surprisingly successful. He's just kind of between having some iffy, but between sort of fortunate matchmaking and some guys kind of falling off at the right time. Like, even Barboza seemed to be building. Barboza seemed to be pulling away a bit, but he gets hurt at the start of round 3. Swanson, the insta gives him, who cares? Simmons, bum. Omar Morales
Emmers
is
is
probably his best.
really dumb.
Is probably his best performance
Against who?
It's just Morales probably his best performance in Chikadze's UFC career.
Yeah.
Like Barboza was he was flagging against Barboza after a round, and like that was very competitive. And he just gets bonked. Swanson, who cares? Simmons, who cares? Morales, he kind of actually put together a solid 15 minutes. So it's just like, I just don't see how people want to play minus 220 for a guy who can't be taken. Who, if he gets taken down, suddenly he's plus fucking 5 billion because he just sucks. If you work reasonably hard, he can't be playing. He's suddenly an underdog because he has no cardio. It's just how the fuck do you get Chikadze to this number? Like, I agree that Sarah's is kind of an idiot and will probably lose a split decision where he probably has two very good striking rounds, which are like 50-50, then takes him down in round 3 and absolutely shits in his ear, and then loses a majority decision or some shit. And everybody's like, oh, it's Caceres got robbed, kind of like, it just feels like the inevitability here. But
yeah, I don't.
What was the upside on Chikadze?
Yeah, like, I mean, he could win by knockout, but that's a thing that doesn't really happen to Caceres. I think I forget I wrote this fight up. There's been like 60 something rounds, and Caceres has only been knocked out or like dropped a couple times. You know, he's very, very tough. Choi was hurting him and whatnot, but like overall, Caceres is like 85th, 90th percentile in durability. Wouldn't you say? Like, he's very tough.
Yeah, Chikadze can't mix the martials and he can't work hard. So like, it just isn't much of a. Where was the ceiling on the Chikadze?
Yeah, I think he's gonna knock him out, or like I think him winning like a competitive striking decision is probably the most likely outcome, but it's also that's like his ceiling, you know? Like, he doesn't have like really a high ceiling. Maybe he can just dominate a little more than I think, but Caceres is just tough. And Chikadze could be slowing down in round 3, you know, like Caceres doesn't gas either, you know?
Chikadze could be slowing down in round 1 with his rate, honestly. Like, Chikadze, when he feels like he's behind a bit, it can just go. Like, the Qatar fight was kind of weird because Qatar got the takedown round 1 pretty easily and then just kind of built off, and then Chikadze was just kind of done for the rest of the fight. So, yeah, I just think Chikadze's not good. Like, that Emmers fight was kind of embarrassing even if you won it.
Yeah. Nakamura versus Garcia. Nakamura's a rightful big favorite. Really good credentialed freestyle wrestler, like a legit one. And like a big number, but I mean, he's probably he's more athletic on the feet even. And then he's got that win condition on the mat, you know. The fact that Heestand, who's like not a physical guy at all, kind of dominated Garcia on the mat. I played Heestand in that fight too, and way more physical than Heestand. Nakamura should be fine. Probably finds a finish. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Garcia's tough, and Garcia's not been absolutely horrible in the UFC, but yeah, Nakamura seems to hit very hard. He's got freestyle wrestling in his back pocket, so I'm not sure how relevant is this. I mean, I think minus 8 billion or whatever he's like, minus 800 was is a bit off, but again, I'll probably sort of wait till I bet Garcia kind of thing, see if he doesn't get instigated. Yeah, like good potential.
I mean, Garcia's probably just got to clip him. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. You never know. Like, again, it's all fact finding mission, and like minus 900 is a fact finder. I'm kind of whatever. Like, maybe it'll be a good live entry. Do you find it funny Nakamura kind of got forced out of the sport of wrestling because he had that other guy a couple of years younger than him who's like the Olympic gold medalist now in wrestling? Like, it was wrestling. If you look at his wrestling record, he's the guy he lost to this other Japanese guy two or three times in a row. Then he probably left the sport of wrestling because the other guy is like Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah,
probably 2 or 3 years younger than him. Which is kind of funny how wrestling works in a sport like that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know Bo Nickel came to the UFC because he couldn't make the U.S. Olympic team. Like, people think he's like the best wrestler on the planet, but like David Taylor schooled him multiple times, you know?
Yeah, it's just a pity how that sport, like, if you just don't happen to be number one or have a poor style matchup, you're just fucked. And it's like, go find how to make money somewhere else. I think it was Takuto Otaguro who forced him out.
What's that?
It was Otaguro who forced him out by the looks of it. He won what weight class did he win? 2020, 65 kilo freestyle division.
It's funny because in wrestling for the Olympics and Worlds, each country at each weight class only gets one representative. So like at one point, Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs, and David Taylor were all in the same weight class, and two of them ended up like Burroughs is an Olympic champion, and so is Taylor, and then Dake has won the Worlds before. So it's like you had world and Olympic champions on one weight class, but I feel like USA and Russia and Iran should all get like 4 representatives. It's kind of like Champions League in soccer. It's like the better the league, they should get more representation. But yeah, because then like Bo Nichols should have been in the Olympics too. But he had David Taylor there. But I don't know. We're getting off topic. Blanchfield and Santos. I think Blanchfield should be okay. I think she's like a better pure grappler, and this might be a hot take, but even in the striking, I feel like I like Blanchfield's like pace and pressure more. Like Santos kind of likes to be at like more of a comfortable range, and I'm not sure she'll keep up with that pace of Blanchfield. Like I feel like Blanchfield could take over on the feet as it goes. Like Santos does hit hard though, and can be dangerous early, and like can definitely win an early round or something on the feet. But I would probably. Overall, I think Blanchfield's like a better pure wrestler and jiu-jitsu girl, and I think on the feet, I like her pressure and pace a little more. But it's a good fight. Like it's not like Santos is in over her head in any area either. There's not like one area where you're like Blanchfield's gonna easily dominate her there. But yeah. Like what do you think? Do you have a side here?
Yeah, I'd probably pro Blanchfield. Again, I feel like striker versus grappler in this kind of pricing, you tend to go grappler side just because the upside's higher. And watching Santos's run up for UFC, it's just like there's a lot of stalling in guard. Like she does seem to be a good athlete. She does seem to hit hard, but like her strength of schedule has aged pretty poorly, or it's just been girls she can just sit in their guard and just kind of chill and it'll be fine. Like McCann can be stalled, Robertson can be stalled, Modafferi fucked and can be stalled. And then the Wood fight where she just kind of bonks her out of nowhere, and it's like all three of those fighters that just have aged terribly. And Robertson's always been a very sort of binary, like Robertson can either do a thing to you or she can't kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And like Santos was too physical to do a thing. I don't mind the under so much. I think it could be interesting. So if you're like, Santos plus header for a woman, Blanchfield, some sub game is getting increasingly aggressive, and that kind of stuff. And I think Santos' overiness has been because she's been able to guard stall people. I don't think she's going to just sit in Blanchfield's guard. And Barella was able to pass her pretty easily and got side control and getting decent positions. So. Yeah, I think I think Blanchfield could be a bigger favorite. And even like Santos versus Shevchenko, it was more just like Shevchenko was kind of shutting her out for a bit, then hit that stupid judo throw and pulled her onto her back, and then
it was just
Santos seemed to get a lot more confident.
It was some stalling back takes. Like she didn't do that. Like other than that, what did she really do in that fight?
And they weren't really real back takes either, because most of them were just like Shevchenko would own her on standing, get into clinch, do some stupid fucking judo throw and pull her onto her back. Like it wasn't like Santos was taking her down and getting the back. It was just more Shevchenko being an absolute fucking idiot.
Yeah, it was literally Shevchenko throwing a head and arm, because like a lot of people bring that up, and I'm like, maybe Blanchfield I think has thrown a head and arm throw before, but I do think like she's less likely to do that here. And like pure jiu-jitsu, Blanchfield's better than Shevchenko. Like, don't you think?
Yeah. Maybe less physical, but yeah, in terms of, if you have a sort of pure grappling match between two, I'd probably favor Blanchfield.
Yeah, for sure. Like, she won the EBIs when she was like really young. She's a black belt. Like, she's legitimately good as a submission grappler. And I also think Blanchfield's more likely to win by submission here. Just like, I think she's a better, like, I don't think Santos is going to really submit Blanchfield at a high clip, where I could just see Blanchfield being better than Santos. Like, and on the feet again, I just think Blanchfield will like push a pace. But yeah, there have been some sketchy little like moments. Like I do agree, but Blanchfield overall, like, especially if you watch like the Cortez fights and other times she has been taken down, she scrambles up pretty well and has pretty good takedown defense. So like, Santos could land some takedowns or something, but like I don't think she's just gonna like be able to lay in guard, like she has before. I think Blanchfield could land takedowns, and I just like Blanchfield's pressure and cardio more. Like that is one thing about Blanchfield; she pushes a crazy pace,
Yeah, no, yeah. I think you got to be able to team pace and grappling in this kind of pricing. Like I haven't pulled the trigger either way. Odds might take some Blanchfield submission as an upside thing, but yeah, I agree.
Any other fights you want to talk about, or something anyone else wants to talk about? Also, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But if there's anything catch your eye, you go ahead.
Parker Porter over Talfa seems like a stupid price. Like, yeah, he's obviously lost to the other Talfa, but I feel like Justin Talfa is significantly better. And yeah, I just like, Talfa can't mix martials. If Porter ever ends up on top or just pushes pace, and then he probably just eventually ends up absolutely shitting on him.
Do you got any
against Kaneshita
things here?
Nah, maybe Aronov in the main event, but we're still waiting to see what happens to the price. It's a pretty boring week, to be honest. So I sort of went through it, and like the prices seem pretty okay. Aronov versus Reese, like Reese is this sort of huge athlete kind of thing. Like he's getting like it's all these weird fights and choosing like a contender. I think Reese is not very good, but also kind of cheering for him to win because I feel like he does win. It's going to be by like massive first round knockout, and that will probably give you minus 300 on them against somebody decent UFC kind of situation.
Yeah.
So like, sometimes you want to win the two. Yeah, even though I think he's probably slight value against him on TNC. I want him to win as a meme lord because I think that just does better for him.
I kind of like Aldrich by KO at plus 185. I just feel like, I know she doesn't get a lot of KOs, but this Lang girl is like very, very hittable with ground and pound, and also just like has no striking whatsoever. And Aldrich surely on the feet is going to land some very, very hard shots. Do you kind of see like KO plus 185? Like, do you like that or no?
I mean, I'd rather have it than moneyline minus 5 billion.
Well, yeah.
I just is Aldrich gonna really push it though? And like I feel like Carnelossi, stopped her, but Carnelossi does push a hell of a pace, and Juarez is kind of Juarez cannot mix martials, but actually hurt pretty much every woman she ever fought, kind of thing.
But it's like this girl's already been knocked out her 2 losses in the UFC, and like I know
one was pace.
Huh?
Carnelossi just had this kind of Andrade to her, which I don't think is what Aldrich can do, and Juarez kind of just hits it very hard. Like, but again, I do agree, but yeah.
But it's a pace of like that Liang sets usually. I feel like she's going to go nuts, spaz out like Ryan Spann, and then she'll just be open to like be gassed and dead. Like I don't think Aldrich just has to like defend the early grappling store, which she probably will. She's always very good at that, and then probably just dominate her. I don't know.
I mean, I kind of agree. I agree that Aldrich should shit on her. I just, plus 185 for women's WMA KO is always kind of stresses me out, particularly when like there's probably significant club sub equity there as well.
But I think there's more process here because of the ground and pound. Like this girl goes for knee bars and shit and just gets fucking blasted. It's not like, and on the feet it's a huge mismatch, but even on the mat, like she opens herself up to just get process KO'd. But yeah, like I'm not saying you have to throw the house on it, but plus 185. Do you really think this is going to go the whole 15 minutes? I don't. And like, do you really think Aldrich is going to cover? I just feel like KO is obviously the most likely thing. But
yeah, but like, I just my issue with women's MMA is like you don't get flatline KOs that often, which means that every time there's a knockdown or a bad finishing sequence, it always ends up in the grappling, and it always ends into an extended stoppage, at which point the club sub just goes exponentially higher. Not that I'm saying that I'll just get a suburb. It's just what always stresses me about playing big women's MMA KO lines, because I just feel like the chance of somebody just flat like in men's like you get knocked down, the fight's over kind of thing immediately, so it doesn't end up in that TKO situation. But I feel like on women's, it's more likely to end up with the follow-up, which means that the sub just never completely exits the equation.
she's had 13 fights, Aldrich, and she's never attempted a submission, though. And she's never won.
She's
by
never
submission.
fought Naliang, though.
I no, I know, but I just feel like she is a strike first type of fighter, like positional strike. I think that will result on more likely like a TKO. But
I mean,
like
I do agree.
Aldrich's submission is almost the same as her KO line, and I don't agree.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I get your logic. I just feel like there was a significant risk there with the club sub, and plus 185 is not enough. Like it was like last week, I had Rodriguez submission over what's his name, a RoboCop submission over what's his name, and it's just like, oh, he instantly killed him with a positional TKO. Hooray!
Yeah,
yeah. It's a very frustrating way to lose a bet. Put it that way.
For sure. Well, that's everything. I'm gonna roll. I'm so tired. I've had a busy last few weeks, but we will be back. What's the next card?
What is it?
The France
Gone
one.
Spivak. Oh, yeah, Spivak's dog, which seems off.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. But thanks for everyone tuning in, and Gugabe. I'm hoping we get to see your beautiful face next week.
Possibly. See how it goes.
All right. Well, I'll see you. Thanks, everybody.
Catch you.